Let's talk about all the notable new manga releases coming out in July of 2023. Is halfway done. We are in the summer months. It is July, which means that my birthday's coming out around the corner, so I'm excited about that personally. So happy early birthday to me and all you other July babies out there. If you're celebrating your birthday anyway, like I do mine, you're probably going to do so with some new volumes of manga. Anyway, we got some cool new stuff to cover this month. There's some cool new releases that are coming out, some stuff that I'm really excited about. It is a little bit of a lighter month than we've had previously, which is cool. That's good for the wallet, can be good for the soul as well. So we've had some pretty heavy months recently. So let's go ahead and before we get on into it, cover the same points that I usually do. Number one, what are notable new releases? Because I always say I cover notable new releases. I'm not covering every single new volume that's coming out of every single manga. I'm not covering all the stuff that I'm most anticipating, and I'm not covering the most popular new things. What I cover in these videos is new volume ones, new single volume releases, final volumes that I recognize are coming out. I do miss final volumes quite a bit though. And new box sets, special editions, stuff like that. Because it's not about what I'm excited about. It's not about what's popular. The point of these videos is to try and help you, my dear viewers, to be aware of these new things that are coming out so that you can, possibly find something that could be your next new favorite manga. It's really easy with how many new series come out every single month to miss out on something, let it completely fly under your radar. So my goal in these videos is always to try and help you to find something that you may otherwise miss out on. So before someone goes into my comments and says, how come you didn't mention One Piece Volume 103? I'm not trying to cover all the subsequent volumes of popular series. If you know that the volume's coming out, then that kind of proves in itself why I didn't mention it, right? It's not much of a guide if I'm not guiding you with it. Anyway, and that is a notable new volume, to be fair, of One Piece. If you keep up with it, you know what happens in that volume, and it is rather notable. Anyway, the other points that I want to cover before getting into the video, release dates, I'm giving the official dates. Things do get delayed, things do come out early, it happens every month, it's normal. And if you are on Twitter, go ahead and follow me at OmniCollector, and if you pick up anything that I mentioned in this video specifically because you heard about it from me, it'd be awesome if you could post a picture of it when you get the book, tag me, tag the publisher to let them know that I'm out here talking about their stuff. It really does help. It's an easy way for you to help me because it does go a long way for me and the relationships with the publishers. At this point, I'd usually pull up a stack of Yen Press new releases and say, hey, here's all the new Yen books that they sent me. But I had to film this earlier than I usually do my buyer's guides because I've got Anime Expo coming out this weekend, and if I don't put the video out before then it's probably not going to happen until the second week of July, and I don't want to be delayed. So no new Yen books. I filmed this before those came in this time. Anyway, let's get into it. We've got some cool new stuff coming out in the month of July. First book, I don't know what the official release date for this is, but we've got a new one from Starfruit Books. This is the Wonder House of Horrors by Miyako Kojima. This is a horror short story collection, so if you are into horror manga at all, go ahead and pick this one up. I believe it is available. So Starfruit sent me this one as like a preview copy, but I believe it should be available to order from the website. So if you head over to starfruitbooks.com, you should be able to order a copy. And if you're into horror at all, Starfruit has a couple other things, like there's The Town of Pigs by Hideshi Hino, and they have another Hino book coming up around the corner. So some cool stuff for you to check out. Anyway, on the 4th of July, that's my birthday, we got some cool new stuff coming out. From Vertical, To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, Volume 14. That's the last volume of that series. So you've been holding off. Maybe you've seen the anime and enjoyed it, but didn't pick up the manga. This is the perfect time to get into it, so you can have all 14 volumes and read it at your own pace. Then we've got Classroom of the Elite, Horikita Volume 1, spin-off focused on the character of Horikita Suzune and her budding friendship with Ayano Koji. Kiyotaka amid the cutthroat atmosphere of their school. I don't know anything about Classroom of the Elite, so I couldn't go into more detail about that, so I apologize. Then we've got some cool stuff coming from Viz, Like a Butterfly Volume 1, a new one from the shoujo Beat line. This one is a school romance about an out-of-reach girl who falls for a quiet boy after he rescues her. However, she finds she isn't the only one in her class that's interested in him. Then we've got the final volume of Romantic Killer, Volume 4. This is the shonen series that got put into the Shoujo Beat label. Then we have 2 final volumes from Shonen Jump. First up, Volume 2 of Tista. This is one of the earlier works by Tatsuya Endo, the creator of Spy Family. So if you are a fan of Spy Family and want some more stuff from that creator, you might want to pick up Tista. I haven't read the second volume yet. The first volume was a lot of fun. But at only 2 volumes, if you're a fan of the creator, it's not a big commitment. This one's a little bit more of a commitment, but we have the final volume of Dr. Stone. This is volume 26, so finally wrapping this one up. I'm a big fan of this series. I've had so much fun with it. I feel like it brought a new flavor to the Shonen Jump titles that is different from the typical like action-adventure fare. It is still an adventure series. But anyway, fantastic title. If you haven't read it yet, if you haven't checked it out on the Shonen Jump app. You can read, I think, the first 3 chapters for free to see how it is. But if the idea of a story where a group of people try to form a new kingdom of science so that they can bring back society into a world after all of humankind has been petrified in stone cocoons for thousands of years, then this might be for you. Now, I know that a lot of people who haven't picked up the series yet, you're probably going to tell me like, oh, I'm just going to wait for a box set. And honestly, this series, I think, has the highest chance out of any Shonen Jump title of getting a box set, because it's 26 volumes plus that one spin-off prequel volume, and I think it'd be a great. I would not at all be surprised if within the next year or less we see an announcement for a Dr. Stone box set. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we've got a couple of delayed books. A Hero in the Demon's Castle from Kuma. This is a single volume fantasy BL. This is available directly from the publisher. It just hasn't hit a lot of retailers yet. And then Gantz Omnibus Volume 12. This one has been available in the direct market, so like comic shops and stuff, since I want to say about mid-May. So I don't know why it got delayed into the first week of July, but it did. But that's the final volume of the Gantz Omnibus editions, and I know a lot of y'all are probably thinking like I'm holding out to see if there's going to be hardcovers. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I am going to say that editorial mentioned that these bricks don't sell well enough for them to basically get the approval from the licensors to release the hardcovers. Again, not saying it's never going to happen. All I'm saying, if it does, it might not be around the corner, and if it does, it might require people to buy the paperback copies. And I know that seems counterintuitive because that means that you're probably going to buy something that you're just going to sell off later, but I'm just, don't shoot the messenger, I'm just giving you the information. We end off the first week with a couple new releases from Glacier Bay Books. I like talking about their stuff. It's all fantastically put together. They do wonderful work. First up is Mi-chan. That's the newest installment in the Sleepy Child series, so I've been following those stories of a young anthropomorphic cat. This is going to be the next chapter in that one. And then we've got Give Her Back to Me. I'm really excited for this one. It's a horror mystery about a cursed family heirloom that brings tragedy to all linked to it. Now, moving on to the 11th, we've got I Should Not Love You from Digital Manga Publishing. It's been a while, I think, since I've mentioned DMP on here. This is another single volume BL about old school rivals whose reunion may spark romantic feelings. Then we've got Tear Moon Empire from J Novel Heart. I know this is the first, I think I've mentioned J Novel Club, but I haven't had J Novel Heart on here. It's a historical fantasy about a princess named Mia Luna Tear Moon, who is publicly beheaded during a revolution in her kingdom. But then she wakes up in the past in her 12-year-old self's body, and she decides that she wants to try and change fate and use all of her knowledge of the future to gather allies and hopefully stop herself from being executed so that she can save her empire. Next up, from Tokyo Pop, we get Acid Town. This is a new BL series about Yuki and Tetsuo, who are attempting to rob the headquarters of the local Seidokai to get money to pay for Yuki's little brother's hospital bill. They fail to do so, but they get the attention of a mob boss named Kazutaka Hyodo, who takes interest in them and offers to pay for his brother's fees as long as Yuki visits once a week. Next up, we have Disney Twisted Wonderland Book of Heartsland Bjol. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but that's what it is. I'm not familiar with the Twisted Wonderland stuff. I have friends who are really into the I think it's a mobile game, so I'm sure they and anyone else who's familiar are going to want to pick this one up. But the description we have is that Yu is pulled from his world and stranded at Night Raven College, a magical academy in the world of Twisted Wonderland. He becomes a student and can stay on campus despite not having magic of his own, but his new friends land him into trouble with the head mage. And finally, for the 11th, I'm really looking forward to this one, is Offshore Lightning. This is an anthology collection coming from Drawn and Quarterly. It's a collection of various stories by Nazuna Saito, which cover various topics like aging, death, self-pity, and self-reflection. So now we're going to move into the third week of the month. These are new things coming out on the 18th of July, but real quick, I'm going to plug our sponsor, Walt's Comic Shop. If you've been watching my stuff for a little bit, you probably heard me mention Walt's Comic Shop, but if you haven't, and you're located in the EU, you'll want to listen up, because they are a fantastic shop that's got a brick and mortar located out in Berlin, Germany, but they do ship all across the EU. They have fantastic selection of thousands of volumes of manga, they're getting new stuff all the time, and they have great prices, great shipping, and just fantastic customer service. So if you are in the EU and you need a new place to order some manga from, look no further than Walt's Comic Shop. And if it's your first time ordering from Walt, you can use the code TheOmnibusCollector to get free shipping on your first order of €40 or more. So again, go check out Walt's Comic Shop if you are located in the EU, or drop by if you happen to be in Berlin, Germany, and you can say hello and let them know that the Omnibus Collector sent you. Anyway, new releases for the 18th. We've got, starting off from 7 Seas, is The Great Snake's Bride. This one follows Mio, who is offered as a tribute to a giant snake god. However, rather than the snake devouring her, she finds that it starts treating her as his wife. This one, I do want to say, warning, it is rated 17+ for mature content, so be careful if you're not looking for mature content. Next up from Yen Press, I'm very excited about this one. Run on Your New Legs Volume 5. This is the final volume of this sports drama about a young man who, in an accident, lost one of his legs, and throughout this series is now learning how to, as the title suggests, run on his new leg, as he learns how to use a prosthetic so that he can get back to doing things that he loves with athletics, etc. Really great title. It's only 5 volumes, so if it sounds cool to you, pick it up. It's good. I really love it. Next up, also from Yen Press, the next few are from Yen Press. Secrets of the Silent Witch. This is a fantasy that follows Monica, who's called the Silent Witch because she has learned how to use unchanted magic that you don't have to speak out loud for. But she's also extremely shy, and as it turns out, the only reason she learned how to use enchanted magic is so that she wouldn't have to speak aloud in public. However, due to her talents, she's been tasked to protect the kingdom's second prince by infiltrating a prestigious academy. Next up, Saint. Nope, just a monster tamer. This one follows the incredibly gifted Kanata, who, despite all of her talents, decides that she wants to be a monster tamer. As it turns out, Kanata is actually the reincarnation of a woman from the real world, and she's setting off on a quest to find as many fluffy creatures as possible. Then we have Imitation. This one follows Maha, a member of the obscure idol group known as Tea Party, who hopes to become a big star one day on her own. However, she winds up going viral one day when she embarrasses herself on a popular talk show. Then we get to one of my most anticipated releases, not just for this month, but for the entirety of the year, The Summer Hikaru Died. This one follows Yoshiki and Hikaru, who are 2 friends who do everything together until one day Hikaru is fatally injured while hiking alone, and he becomes encompassed by a mysterious light that completely changes him. Hikaru is consumed by an eldritch horror that winds up becoming him physically. And while it does have all of his memories, it is something very different. However, despite all of this, Yoshiki still wants to be by his side. I am extremely excited about The Summer Hikaru Died. Anyway, moving onward, more stuff coming out in the 3rd week. I Want to Be a Receptionist in This Magical World follows Nunnally, who enrolls in the kingdom's magic academy with the dream of becoming a receptionist in the hall. She finds herself as the only commoner amongst nobles, but she decides that she will do everything she can to be at the top of her class. But she's having some trouble besting the boy who sits next to her, a young snob named Alweiss Rockman. And then we end the month with a couple of like art book type things. First up, the Horimiya Memorial Book, page 100. If you're a fan of Horimiya, you'll definitely want to pick this one up to set on your shelf alongside the rest of the series, which Yen Press published the final volume of, I think, last month. And we end with Marvel Comics, a manga tribute from Viz Media. This one is similar to the Star Wars art book, Star Wars, a manga tribute that Viz put out, I think, a couple years ago. It was a really cool book, had a lot of artwork. I believe it was original for that art book that was by a lot of different well-known manga creators. This one is somewhat similar. However, instead of having a bunch of original artwork, the material in here, from what I can see, it looks like it's being taken from existing comics, whether it be things like Yoshitaka Amano's graphic novels, the work of Gurihiru on stuff like Gwenpool, or variant covers that have been put out by people like Kamome Shirahama. So it looks like this might not have anything original, but if you'd like to see some of your favorite manga creators taking on Marvel characters, check this one out. It's gonna have a lot of really great artwork. Also, they put Peach Momoko in here, and she's not a manga creator. She's Japanese, but she only does like illustrations for Western comics. So anyway, moving into the final week of the month, just a few more new releases. First up, from Kaiten Books, I think it's the first time I've mentioned Kaiten on these videos, is the Bottom Tier Baron's Accidental Rise to the Top. This one follows Rise Babylon, who's recently become a baron after the death of, I think his mom and dad. However, after filing away his paperwork to take the official place as baron, the citizens rise up against him, and so to save himself, he tries his best to suck up to them by using his divine magic abilities to bribe them. Next up, we've got from Webtoon Unscrolled, Doombreaker. This one follows Zephyr, the last human fighting against evil, who is killed by the demon lord Tartarus, but is given a second chance to save humanity when he is resurrected. Can he change his fate and defeat Tartarus? And then we wrap up the month with something I'm super excited about, and that's a new Junji Ito story collection in Soichi. Soichi is the weird kid that has the nails in his mouth and stuff. We've had a couple of Soichi stories released in English, and there's been Soichi stories adapted in like the Junji Ito anime stuff. But this is a collection of 10 Soichi stories, which I believe is everything, all of the Soichi stuff, except for a 4-page crossover between Soichi and Tomie, which was released way after this was the volume that this English version is adapting was released in Japan. So after this, there's just 3 more of these Junji Ito story collections that are going to be coming out. Not 3 more Junji Ito books, but 3 story collections in particular, because these story collections are based off of an existing line of books in Japan, and we've got everything from that line released in English except for 3. If you want more information about that and what those books are and everything else that has yet to have been released or announced for release in English, go ahead and check out my Junji Ito guide that I put out at the end of March. I'll put a link somewhere so y'all can click through. So if you're a fan of Junji Ito, you can stay on top of that stuff. But that is it for the month of July. Like I said, a much lighter month as far as new releases, but still a lot of cool stuff that I'm excited for and that I am looking to try out. Let me know in the comments below what new releases you are excited for, whether it's something that I did talk about in this video or something that I didn't. Thank you so much to everyone for watching and taking the time to spend with me. I really appreciate it. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, I would very much appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button and hit that bell so you are notified of all of the upcoming videos that I put out every single month. And if everyone would hit the thumbs up, that also does some good stuff for me as far as the YouTube algorithm goes. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.